Midlands Radio Live at Hard Rock Hell, and I am very pleased to announce that we've got Mr. Dan Reid with us.
Hey.
How are you, Dan?
Again.
Yeah.
Very good.
How are things?
Okay, just got off stage.
Yes? How'd it go?
I think it went good. Did you get to see it?
We didn't.
Oh, you were doing interviews, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. The room was packed, and just great positive energy, a lot of smiling faces, a lot of people shaking their booty. That was good.
If it's anything like the set you did at Steelhouse, then...
I think it went over even better tonight. Yeah, it felt great.
Yeah, because you've got the new album,
Yeah.
Origins, as well. So
you do? Great.
Yeah, so we played a few tracks from that.
Thank you.
On the station, on my show. Re-recording a couple of the older tracks.
Yes.
Yeah. Was that a conscious thing before you actually went in to record the album?
Yeah, well, this didn't even... It started off as not even an album idea. What we wanted to do is have a recording session with a live audience, about 150 people in the round, record a new song, and have them sing on the song. That was the original plan. Mm-hmm. I thought it was going to be boring for people to sit in the studio with us for 8 hours watching us record a song they never heard before.
Yeah.
So I suggested, why don't we do ritual, something they can just sing, whoa, hey, do all the chants with us. Mm-hmm. And that way they have something to kind of, sink their teeth into, something they know. And it turned out it was just one of the most amazing experiences we've had as musicians, connecting with people for 10 hours, doing an unplugged concert at the end of the day and serving them food and just having a good laugh and a really good time and showing our more frail side, like when we're working on stuff, making mistakes and like talking through parts. And that was fun for the audience, they told us, which we thought it would be boring. So then we decided, let's do it again, do it in New York. And we did one in Portland, Oregon, then one in Stockholm, and all of a sudden we had an album of half new songs and half old songs. And what was really interesting for us, though, was that doing the older songs got us back in touch with our foundation, where we came from as musicians. And then the new songs that we wrote to go with that stuff seemed to make sense together, even though it was 30 years later.
Yeah.
So that's why we call it Origins, because it's like it's both our past and our future, I believe.
I'll get a chance to see it next week because I'll see you on the tour with Mason Hill and Hollowstar.
Great bands.
Next Saturday, yeah, so I'm looking forward to that big time.
What show will that be?
The one in Cardiff.
Oh, great.
Oh,
fantastic.
Muni.
Not Cardiff.
Muni.
Pontypridd.
That's right. Yeah.
Pontypridd.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Big
Fantastic.
time. You mentioned 30 years. Yeah. It's coming up to the 30
next year is 30 years Slam. This is the year that we put out the first album, 1988.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, all those years ago.
Yeah.
The success that you had with the early stuff like Slam, all of a sudden you walked away from music yourself.
Yeah.
You started off with was it a bar or a nightclub? Nightclub you had, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that wasn't for years later.
Yeah.
When I left the band, I mostly was interested in growing a garden with my father.
Yeah.
Having a somewhat stable relationship. And I got into theater acting and screenplay writing. Mm-hmm. And I got to stand in other people's shoes as an actor and reading other people's dialogue instead of me coming up with the text and the music and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that was quite liberating. And it also gave me a perspective on other characters other than just myself. I think I've tried to incorporate that more and more in the music on my solo work, and especially with the new network stuff as well, trying to see the dark side of myself or the light side or the comedian, all these different characters that we have inside of us. There's a right-wing character in me, there's a left-wing character. We all have that stuff inside of us. So acting and working on film and stuff really helped me kind of exercise those demons. And then I got into, I bought a nightclub with some other partners, and I did that for about 3.5 years. Mm-hmm. And then I went into construction work for a year, building houses and stuff.
Yeah. And
then I went off to India, lived in a monastery there for almost a year. And then over to Jerusalem for 3 years, and that's when I really started recording again. That was in 2005 to 2008. And
in the monastery, that must be very, I won't say humbling, but, you're away from all the trappings of modern life.
Yeah, there was no electricity, for example, so there was no internet, no cell phones, no music, no stereo systems, that kind of stuff. But there was a lot of meditations, a lot of conversations about science and religion and mathematics and spirituality. And, the monks wanted to learn about more my lifestyle, and I wanted to learn about theirs because they had been monks since they were kids.
Yeah.
So they never listened to music, they never had sex, they never drank or did drugs or any of that stuff. And so I could kind of tell them about the pros and cons of that lifestyle. Yeah. And then they told me about the pros and cons of their lifestyle. There was more pros than cons, but I really I adore that time I had there. It taught me a lot about patience and humility and showing gratitude toward pretty much everything. Even comes down to your breath, inhaling and exhaling. You know, we meditate on that for about 6 months. So when you come away from that experience, you actually just go, wow, being able to breathe is a gift. Being able to have a meal, having any kind of bed. So like even now when we get a really shitty hotel, I'm never the one to complain because it's someplace to lay your head.
Somebody else to get in. That's right. Yeah. So basically, you found yourself when you were in the monastery.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't go as far as that. I would say that I found a new reason to do music. That's for sure. I'm still searching for answers about all the stuff that's going on in this world. Like, how do we find the middle ground between people that believe the earth is flat and people that don't? Between nationalism and freedom and open borders and this earth being one giant country. I like that concept, but there's a lot of problems with that idea. So I'm trying to I'm still struggling with all that. And like this old Tibetan monk once told me, I asked him, he was 92 years old, and I said, have you found enlightenment yet? And he said, oh no, many more lifetimes it's going to take. So I feel that same way about me.
Yeah.
Many more lifetimes before I find myself. I've been looking under every corner and every couch.
Whose idea was it to get the band back together?
You know, Blake Sakamoto was the one that talked about it the most, I would say. He's not even in the band now, but he talked about it the most. But it was a guy named Bart Hafman in Portland, Oregon that offered us a gig, a proper gig, playing New Year's Eve 2012. And that was the first time I took it seriously because it kind of funded all of us getting together to rehearse, to go play a show on New Year's Eve, the day the world was supposed to end according to the Mayan calendar and all this crazy stuff. Yeah. So we thought that would be a fun date to play. And just do a one-off. So I would say it was Blake instigated it, but Bart Hafman solidified it, And then after that, it was our idea to stay together. You know, because we had such a great time that night. Yeah. So then we did a couple tours. Then we said, well, you know what? Now that we're touring again, we might as well write music together again. So we did that and Fight Another Day. And
good album. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. And now this new album.
Yeah.
And now we're going to spend most of next year writing new material. And Rob and Melvin and Brian and I are just going to send tracks back and forth. And we're going to record a record in Portland, Oregon, like we did in the old days. We're going to live in the city for like 6 weeks to 2 months, record a record, and put out hopefully our best record yet in 2020.
I noticed a gig not so long ago, the Dan Reed Trio.
Yeah.
Is that a separate entity then to your solo work?
No, it's basically they play my solo material. They played on 3 of my solo albums, that drummer and that bass player. Rob Dacre, who's the keyboard player in the network, plays a lot of guitar on my solo work.
Right.
And he's also the co-producer and engineer of also the network and my solo stuff. So Rob's, intertwined with us really tightly. And I think I go out when I play solo with acoustic guitar like I am with Thunder in February, which is very cool. It's just the broken down versions of my solo work. When I play with the trio, it's kind of the beefed up versions of that. And we do get a little rocky, but I'd say it's more soul jazz than rock. And then the network would kind of kick out the jams, the funk and the rock stuff,
I remember seeing you doing a solo acoustic tour.
Yeah.
And when you were on stage, you were shouting out to people saying to people in the audience, shout out a song title that you want me to sing.
Yeah, I still do that.
You still do that?
Yeah, in fact, I used to do that once or twice throughout the set. Now I've done whole sets that way because I kind of feel like I've got a handle on most of my solo material, a lot of DRN stuff, and what I don't know, I'll try to wing it.
Yeah.
So I just got bored of writing set lists out and realizing that you can guess what the audience is going to want that night, but why not just ask them what they want? And I think it's fun for them to watch me kind of struggle through the lyrics and figure out what I'm doing. So I'm having a good time doing that, and challenges me as a musician too to kind of remember that stuff.
Excellent. Dan, thank you very, very much indeed for your time once again.
You're welcome.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanking you.
All right, guys.
Looking forward to seeing you. Yeah, looking forward to seeing you a week Saturday.
All right.
Or a week
I'll
tomorrow,
see you then.
actually.
Yeah. I look forward to that.
And are you playing Divided?
Yeah, we
The
just
set
played it.
list?
We just
Yeah.
played it tonight.
Excellent.
We're playing the second song.
Yeah, we've been here since 12 o'clock, so I couldn't come over and see you. But I knew I was going to be seeing you next week, so
Okay,
I
perfect.
wasn't too disappointed with that.
Yeah, we'll definitely play that song for you.
Thank you.
All right.
Hard Rock Hell, it's Midlands Metalheads Radio Live with the man himself, Mr. Dan Reed.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks you guys for the support too.
Cheers.